So, big game of the weekend is Clemson versus Miami. I don't know what they're gonna be ranked. Clemson, I'm gonna assume it's gonna drop down to two. Miami's gonna move up a little bit with all the losses. I think Miami was like number 7 or 8 right now in the current polls. Um, these teams don't have a lot of history of playing against each other. They only met a total of 11 times. 1945, Miami won 7-6 in Miami. Played in the Orange Bowl in 51. Clemson won that one. They played again in the Gator Bowl, um, 14-0. 1953, 39-7. Miami won that one. 1956 was 21-0. Miami. They played in 2004. That was the first meeting in some time. And Clemson won that one down in Florida, 24-17. 2005, they played. Miami won 36-30. um, they played in 2010, 24, 2009. If y'all remember that game, I think that was a famous overtime game. Clemson went down there in Miami and won. It was a real good game. Clemson and Miami played again at Clemson. I think Miami had like a big lead in that one, and they ended up winning the game 30-21. I don't really remember that game too much. The most recent games, um, Clemson beat Miami 58-0 in 2015 regular season game. Deshaun Watson was there. Brad Kyer as at Miami. Artie Burns was a cornerback who got drafted by the Steelers first round. Who else did you have? Mike Williamson played that game because I think he was still out with that neck injury for Clemson. And then you had the championship game where Clemson won 38-3. Kelly Bryant was the quarterback. Uh, right now, Clemson is on a 2-game winning streak versus Miami. The largest margin of victory was Miami winning 38-7. I think that was like 1950 something. Clemson beat Miami 58-0. All Americans. Of course, a lot of these are gonna go to Miami. Miami has the 19th worth most All Americans all time. Clemson has 21 most All Americans. Miami had more national championships. Let me tell you about something about national championships. And this is not taken away for nothing from Miami. Well, most national championships back in the day in the 80s, I think Miami won 3. 84 championship, kind of controversial. First off, I don't know why Osborne didn't just kick the field goal because he would have been still the only undefeated team that year because Miami would have been like, 10-1-1. Texas would have lost the game. A couple other teams would have lost games that year. Auburn technically should have won a national championship in 84 because Auburn beat Florida, who beat Miami. And for y'all that don't know this, the next year, Auburn and Miami went up to New York to play. Miami did beat them. Bo Jackson was on that team at Auburn at that time. Auburn that year played like a ridiculous schedule. They played like Texas, Florida. They played somebody else real tough. They just had a hard schedule. Auburn technically should have won the national championship that year. Texas could have won it. Georgia, Auburn played too. Texas should have won it, could have won it, but they lost to Georgia that year. I think 89 was a 88 was another one that somebody could have technically won it outside of Miami. It's not taking away anything from Miami, but you could have said that they could have won it another year. I think Miami might have tied Washington or somebody for a national championship. So, national championships back then were kind of iffy. Not they weren't always the one on the field. Don't get me wrong, Miami has had a lot of great talent. So don't get me wrong when I say that. It's not a knock against Miami. It's just the truth. The year Clemson won in 81, there was only one undefeated team. Uh, if you really look at Clemson and Miami, 60s and 70s were kind of rough to both programs. If you don't believe me, Miami fans, y'all losing to Florida A&M at that time. Clemson was just coming into his own in 77. And then they had that 5-year span that they were really good from 77 to 81. Then they got caught cheating. Then after they came off probation, it was still pretty good, but they never won a national championship. It was like 10-2 every year. I always made this argument in 1991, Clemson could have won a national championship because they beat Illinois, who by 30 points, man, shut them out, who beat Colorado. So just making that point. The national championships was kind of iffy, but gotta give credit to Miami. They got 5 national championships. Consistent of All Americans, Miami has 35. Uh, all-time wins. Clemson gets credit for that, but Clemson also has been playing more football than Miami, so that's why they're so high on the all-time wins list. Bowl games, again. If you look at outside the 50, Miami time 60s and 70s, they were kind of down. So Clemson has more bowl wins. Clemson's a 30-year all-time winner. But Miami fans can also reply. Y'all probably play better teams than bowls because y'all going to Sugar Bowls, playing against Tennessee and all of them, Alabama, big-time schools playing for national championships, Florida, so whoever else, Penn State, all of them schools. Clemson fans can come back and say, hey, we beat Nebraska, Miami, beat Nebraska. Let's see, who else you want to go to? Oklahoma and Penn State in bowl games also. So, you can go, there's ways you can counter that. All Americans, Miami. Hurricanes, Miami. No one draft picks, Miami. First round picks, Miami. Weeks at the poll, Miami, sort of. Clemson's like 17th, Miami 17th, Clemson's 18th. So weeks in the poll, Miami's ahead. Weeks at number one, Miami ahead. They have 68 weeks in the poll as number one. Clemson has only had 1 week. So that's a little bit of Clemson, Miami's history. Very small sample space, a lot of games in the 50s. Like I give you an example. Clemson has more conference championships than Miami. But that's misleading because Miami, for y'all people that don't know this, was independent a lot. So, I give a lot of credit to Miami. I talk a lot of junk about them too. But Miami, back in the day, them and Florida State will go everywhere and play people. Iowa, Michigan, the Big Ten schools, Wisconsin, Michigan State, Notre Dame, Cal. Now, you used to see Miami play everybody back in the day. South Carolina, Florida State, Florida. They used to take on some hell of a teams. So I got a lot of respect for what Miami has done throughout their career, their school history. But I do talk shit to them because, played them a lot. Just because they're Miami, you try to joke about the top dog in history. My history of for 1977 on up outside of Bama, who has more wins like Miami does. But okay.